Just drinking a Red Bull at midnight.
Yeah, I look like a bum, so I had Ariella just got me a hat.
That's a good hat. I try to make my own hat for myself, and just the quality of the hat, man. Where do you find a good quality hat?
We
That's the
used to get we used to get some good hats on Spreadshirt, but they deleted all of our designs.
why.
Just because the whole bullshit. You know what I mean? You know how it is, dude. They get pussified America, dude. For 3 years they were making money our designs, and then all of a sudden they decided that syringes were too much, and they just deleted everything.
I, I want to find like a really good fabric to make because I can't make any merchandise that I wouldn't like. I'm very picky about like my own clothing and stuff, you know. Like if you notice, I only wear 2 shirts. Like I literally, I'm like those cartoons, you know. My closet is literally 10 black shirts and 10 white shirts. By the way, I broke my finger. If you're
Yeah,
curious.
what the hell? How'd you do that?
It's a really stupid thing, bro. So I started lifting. I told you guys, if I start lifting, I'm gonna take it too seriously. I was not, I was not lifting. I mean, I'm lifting, but I was doing grip stuff. You know, I like grip stuff and arm wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was doing an arm wrestling movement, and the handle sort of spun out of my hand and moved, and then I basically poked a table with full force like this. So I thought I broke my finger, but I went to the hospital. It seems like I ruptured a tendon around here. I mean, no, I mean, I hit it so hard, man. I thought I broke my finger. I could barely move it for a little bit, but anyway.
Yeah, man, and you're right-handed too.
Bro, not only am I right-handed, my hand is very strong. My goal was to close the COC number 3. I closed the 2.5 so many times in my life. I was like, if I'm gonna do something, why don't I finally close the 3, get my name registered? So I'm training for it, and then I break my strongest finger, and I can't type. I can't do client stuff. I'm like, and I type by the way with 2 fingers too. I'm not one of those guys that does that stuff.
How long are you gonna keep you in that brace for?
I can't. If I don't have it right now, something could go very wrong. I could end up like with a finger like this,
Oh
stuck,
God.
and I might need surgery. So I don't know. It's a long story, but anyway, back to the hats. Yeah, I need to find like a good fabric. My hat is crappy. I'm not. Your dog's beautiful. So, by the way, we got some last week. People are so funny. I don't know why in the world they think that me and you don't like Nick Walker. I have no idea why people would imagine.
Dude, no. I'm to blame for that one because I've been trolling that kid for years, dude. They automatically are gonna think that you are like in, you know what I mean, in on it. That's why.
They send me so many messages. So you guys badmouth Nick, and then when he wins, you don't post the video, do you? I'm like, we haven't recorded yet. What a weird comment. We'll make a video. What? I don't hate Nick. What are you talking about?
We'll talk about it for sure.
Yeah, we have to talk about it. But the point is, I don't. Anyway, let's start with that. So
I actually like the guy.
he's a very nice guy. Let's start with this. I'm gonna share my screen.
I like the guy, but I see a lot of bullshit flaws that he not obviously physique wise too, but the way he says some things online that gets him in a little bit of trouble. But
Before we go to Nick, tell me something. Why is this guy not higher rated?
dude, that guy gets fucked every show, dude. Every show, dude. Dude, how the fuck did Blessing beat this guy?
I have no idea. I mean,
Blessing got 6th. He got like 8th or 9th. I don't know how Blessing beat him. Look at the conditioning. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. I mean, he did his best, and he is a tall guy. That's one thing. Like, I don't understand bodybuilding. Like, if you got a guy who's 5'7" and a guy who's 6'3", it takes way more to become muscular at 6'3". You'd think that they take that into account, right?
And to me, it's way more impressive on stage when a guy that carries that much muscle is taller, right? It's so much more impressive. Dude, they screwed this guy for sure. They screwed him for sure.
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, look.
Yeah, I mean, he's shredded. But I will tell you this, Leo, he did look better last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go between. A lot of people look better last week, I felt. Yeah. Now, I don't know much about this guy.
Okay, so backstory with him. He worked with a new coach this year, and the coach is known for not being able to get bodybuilders in shape. His name is Justin Miller. He works with a few classic guys who have left him. John Del Rosa left him. A lot of bodybuilders have left him. And On did make a comment saying that he did leave him after the show. Justin just can't get these big guys in shape. Super nice guy, but he can't get him in shape. But dude, this guy has so much potential, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's round, very round.
So much potential.
I never actually seen an Asian guy with such amazing round muscle. It's
He
really.
guest posed. He guest posed when I did the Contra Costa that one year.
Oh, really? It was there.
Oh yeah, this was even 2013. He's been a pro for a while.
I want to see a couple more. I actually didn't see him, to be honest, in the competition. I didn't pay as much attention to it. This damn thing.
He wasn't in condition.
Bro, you know how hard this is to do without that index finger? It's so funny. I'm like doing acrobatics here. Yeah, he wasn't in condition, but he has an incredible muscle, huh? Now, Blessing got worse. This is what I want to ask you. Okay, bro, you have to explain this to me. Why would Chad let Blessing try to fill out? Because he came so good last time.
I'm gonna say that I talked to a few people in that corner, and I'm going to say that Blessing did not listen 100% to Chad.
I would think so, right?
Yeah, I think that there was a miscommunication between the two. I'm not saying Chad loves junk food. He loves it. I was in the room with a competitor of his. He loves junk food, but I think Blessing took it a little bit too far. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's hard. Obviously, you had a lot of pressure on him, I'm sure. But
they tried to morph him in a week, which is not going to work.
But isn't he like structurally? To be honest, I don't mean this in a mean way, but other than his head actually harms his physique because it's like but anyway, other than his head, his body is like perfectly proportioned, for like for a smaller competitor, right?
He needs more muscle.
Yeah, just more muscle, but his taper is incredible. Does he have high?
Oh, the guy has great potential. The only problem is he turned pro in 2017 and he hasn't made any progress since.
That's true, actually. Yeah. Oh, he does have high lats, huh?
Yeah, that's a bad shot for him. Oof.
He does have very high lats. Well, anyway, he's a really nice guy, and he talked to Nick and everything.
He spilled pretty bad. Oof.
He did spill. He's watery there, right?
Very watery.
Now this guy who they keep miswriting his name, Mohammed, which is actually Muhammad, apparently. Poor guy. Nobody gets his name.
No, they said that's supposedly his name.
Oh, it's actually written with a K?
Yeah, he's from Russia.
He's Egyptian from Russia, actually. I couldn't find him on Instagram. I wanted to message him since he's Arabic. I thought I could interview him in Arabic if it's easier. He has incredible quads, huh?
I like this guy, and I think he didn't place as well either. He got second last week.
Oh, he did? He got second?
He got second to Justin last week.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
He spilled this week. Oh, shit. No wonder he didn't do as well. Dude, last week he was shredded.
Yeah, he was.
If you go to the Indie Pro on here, you'll see how much better in shape he was.
I saw that. No, he was incredible.
Oh, man, he spilled. The poor guy. Look at his midsection.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he may even gained fat. I mean, I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
But look at those quads, huh? What's with the Egyptians and the quad?
His legs are unbelievable, dude. I'm telling you, he almost beat Justin in Indy. He was close.
He's incredible, and he came out of nowhere. Did anybody know about this guy?
I didn't know about him until last week.
Yeah, now Dorian came better, I think, than last.
Oh God, don't get me started on this guy.
Was he better or worse than last week?
He was actually better at the New York Pro, 100%. Because I don't know if you saw the Indy Pro, but dude, this guy couldn't control his midsection. That's why Blessing ended up beating him in Indy because he couldn't control his midsection and he was sweating like a pig on stage.
Yeah, I saw that. He was.
You see his stomach in that shot?
Oh, yeah, it's still out a bit.
He needs to suck that in.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't have control on stage, is what I noticed.
Yes, he loses his stomach on stage.
Which I would too. I have no idea how they control themselves, to be honest. But this guy has slabs of muscle, like
thick, very thick,
unbelievable. How old? Hey,
Leo, he's balding, right? That guy.
Yeah,
he's losing some hair, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's on the way out. Whenever you lose hair as a bodybuilder, you start to do a mohawk, and then when the mohawk doesn't work, then the hair goes. Then you shave the side completely, and it's a mohawk. And then it's gone. That's how it works.
I think that's what Fuad did.
Fuad did. That's true. But so Chris Aceto was commenting on Hassan. He was saying that Hassan just needs to starve. But I would like to add a caveat. I don't know if he was fasting in Ramadan, but man, it's really hard to fast and be lean. You know, because you don't eat all
I
day.
was wondering if he fasted during Ramadan, because if he did, no wonder he was off.
Yeah, I mean, you're fasting, and then the last time he had,
Yeah, look at that. That's not good.
yeah, but the guy has like so much talent, huh?
So much talent, dude. If this guy was shredded, he would have won the show.
Absolutely, I think so too. Even if his shape is slightly blocky, it's a muscle contest at the end of the day. This guy's got muscle for us.
So if he did go with Ramadan, he would have to do a backward schedule. He would have to train and eat at night and then sleep during the day.
I know, but even if you do that, your circadian rhythms off. Your metabolism will be a little bit messed.
Oh yeah, you could only eat when it's dark out. So there's no way you could get enough meals in.
Yeah, and then the rest of the day, your metabolism would slow down, right?
And dude, you can't even have water.
Yeah, I know that's exactly. Imagine, but he's very talented. But Chris Aceto was saying that he just needs to suffer more, and he's gonna keep starving him. And he's taking him to another contest. He said.
Yeah, so they're probably going to do the Cal Pro.
He's incredible. I mean, these Egyptians, man, it's something new in bodybuilding.
Those quads are crazy.
I mean, these guys are giving what's his name, Nasser, a run for his money. I mean,
for sure.
Like these guys could be future Nassers. I mean, Nasser didn't have these genetics. I don't know if you saw the early competition pictures of Nasser when he's younger. He wasn't that impressive, by the way. He just had shoulders, chest.
He was Leo. He was taller though.
Yeah, he's 5'10" or 11, right?
Yeah, and Hassan's probably 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah. Bro, I want to talk to you about that too, but let's talk about that then. The fact that everyone's tiny, but and I'm not tall. I'm 5'10", but like I'm sitting with my wife watching the show, and my wife is like, "Wait a minute, these guys are all 5'7"?"
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, "So they're like muscular midgets, all of them?" And then there's because my wife is 6 foot, you know, so my wife thinks I'm short too. So she's like, "How are these guys like?" But it's interesting. Like anyway, so Justin, I want to ask you this, Bostin. How does Justin look? I'm going to show you the right picture so you can know what I'm talking about. I want to find a good picture of this.
You know, I competed against him, right?
When?
He beat me in the overall at the 2015 NPC Powerhouse Classic in Connecticut.
Okay, bro, this is what I want to talk about. So I keep hearing that Justin has amazing structure, and what I see is obviously he's an amazing bodybuilder and he has great shoulder width. But bro, what in the world is this? You can see his belly from the front in all shots. Always you can see his belly from the front. So I would think that you would say actually his structure is a problem for him. You know, I would think, because in every time he poses, you can see, unless he does the back double bi, I think it's not clear there. But if he does a back lat spread, you can always see his stomach from the front. Even here, look. You always.
Yeah, they're talking about from the front. He looks like a Victor Martinez.
He does, but then he has Victor.
But hey, Leah, this is a horrible showing for him. He was way worse this week than Indy. Look at his legs. They weren't separated. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible at the Indy for sure. Yeah. But another comment is like, for a guy that has great structure, I mean, he actually has a huge hernia here, and he has to get the surgery. And because he can't get the surgery, he can't work out his abs properly. So his abs are getting washed out because he can't work them out properly. Because you see that huge hernia. So he's suffering, actually. He's doing an incredible job for somebody with a hernia there.
So you think he'll need to get that fixed, huh?
Oh, yeah. There's no way he can work out his abs. So his abs are going to continue to get, I mean, maybe he works them out, but he's going to get the hernia worse and worse. Or maybe it is fixed and it just wasn't fixed well. But like that's, you know, for me, I showed my wife, not at the first, honestly, at the Indy, I think it was called. His abs look good there. But I showed my wife here. I was like, imagine a bodybuilder doesn't have abs. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
You have to have abs if you're a bodybuilder, right? So I don't know about that. But anyway, let's get to the very interesting one. Oh, Nick Walker. So, what did you think?
I made a bet. I made a $50 bet that Nick was going to be second behind Justin, and I lost deservingly. Nick won that show hands down. There was no question about it. It was an easy pick. He was polished, bigger. Everything was there. So yeah, he did win the show, but the hype is still insane. Like, everyone thinks this kid's going to battle Ramy for the Olympia title now. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, he won't be a top 5 Olympian. I can promise you that. and his goal of winning 10 Olympias will never happen, or so he thinks he'll be top 5 at the Olympia. I'll bet anyone on this podcast wants to bet me on that. Like if they hear this shit, please message me. I'll take your money.
Wait, I want to talk to you about this. Okay, so this is the thing. So first of all, we don't hate Nick Walker, and nobody's attacking Nick Walker. And to be honest, I only dislike Fawad. I actually like everybody on his podcast. I like Guy. I love Iain. I think he's awesome. I don't know Nick, but he seems like a really nice, sweethearted, simple guy, and I really like him. I mean, I'm talking about Nick, but so nobody dislikes him. I also thought previously, I thought like it would be hard to be Mr. Olympia if you're 5'7", and you have legs of a really short guy. Like, have you ever seen an actual midget Boston in person?
I have not.
They have like very short legs and arms.
Well, actually, no. Of course, I've seen midgets, but like not a bodybuilder midget.
I'm not calling him a midget. What I'm saying is, like, his legs are short, his arms aren't that short, but his legs are short and his torso is long. That's actually what happens with certain kinds of dwarfs. Certain kinds of dwarfs have long torsos. I'm not saying he's a dwarf, but what I'm trying to say is that was a stupid example. But what I'm trying to say is, I had a hard time imagining that Mr. Olympia could be a 5'7" guy that's a little bit blocky and stuff like that. But now that I was thinking about it, Boston, I mean, who won the last couple of Olympias before Rami? I mean, they were not guys that you would have thought, whoa, they're way above. They are the top bodybuilder in the world. Like Brandon Curry, I mean, he's a great bodybuilder, but you wouldn't, if you were a kid, you wouldn't see him and say, whoa, that guy's miles ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have said that either for Chris Aceto's guy the year before. I mean, he has a great quad sweep, great abs, but the Mr. Olympia Arnold is the real muscle. At that time, even he had more muscle than everybody else. So I was thinking like it was just hard to imagine a guy who's 5'7", even if he's muscular. But the reality is, I guess right now, a lot of people winning the Olympia aren't that far ahead of everybody else. Now that's my defense of potentially, at the same time, he's got Iain Valliere, who's a normal-heighted guy, who's got very good shape. Maybe not the best muscle, but great shape, right? His competition. Then he's got Hunter Labrada, who's unbelievable shape from the front, in my opinion. So he has to be
like these guys are put together way better than Nick. That's why he'll never be at the top. Like you said, Hunter Labrada, like that shape that he has in that front double, Nick can never attain that no matter what. Iain Valliere, he does have good shape, but he's lacking muscle in some areas. I think Nick Walker could beat Iain very soon, for sure. But we're talking about top Olympians. These guys aren't even in the top 5, these guys that you're mentioning.
I'm talking about the next generation. So this is what I was going to ask you also. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, which is interesting. Because the top 5 guys right now are from a previous generation. And now there's a younger generation coming up, right? And the top 3 of them are Hunter, Iain, and Nick. Which one of them do you think is going to crack the top 5 first? Because what I see is Iain's a bit ahead of Hunter, but Hunter has genetics like unbelievable. Like I could see
I would say the first person out of all those people to crack the top 5 will be Hunter.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. But the only variable is Hunter's never been in perfect shape. He's always a little bit off. But if he comes in shredded, yes, he could 100% be top 5.
Does he have muscle weaknesses from the back?
Yeah, a little bit in his back area, yeah, but not as weak as Iain's back. Iain's back is really weak.
You know what amazes me about Iain? That guy is strong. Like
strong.
Coming from a powerlifting perspective, like that's my background. I never did bodybuilding because I didn't want to look stronger than I am. When I see people like Iain, I respect the hell out of that guy. He's doing his best to be as big as he can,
Do you think a guy like that, Leo, when they're in their 40s and 50s, are going to be having repercussions, though, from lifting like that?
Absolutely. And that's something that's a hidden secret of powerlifting. Nobody tells you about it. Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell tells everybody, if you squat with the right form, you're never going to hurt your back. Guess what? Louis' back is ruined. And everybody there's back is ruined eventually. And everybody lives with chronic pain. I've met some of the top strongmen and powerlifters when I used to hang out with Scott Mendelson. All of them have pain. They don't talk about it.
Yeah, dude, my dad's all screwed up, and he was a heavy lifter, so and he was smart about lifting too. Like he was strong and lifted too heavy. But dude, like I was working out with Phil Hernan a couple months ago at the gym. Phil Hernan, Mr. USA, and dude, his shoulders are destroyed. He can't even lift his arms up. His shoulders are so destroyed.
Look at Chad. Chad is always like this for the shoulders because he used to lift heavy with his shoulders. I mean, that's one of the things in powerlifting. When you bench press, you pin your shoulders back so they don't take that force. In bodybuilding, you want your upper pec to grow, so you incline bench press with your shoulders out. So all the weight goes on the shoulder. Well, bro, guess what? That shoulder is not meant to carry any weight. We're not actually meant to push shit above our heads.
Okay.
So that's just, and the thing about it is, it's just sheer force. Like, think about it. It's bone and then cartilage, and what's going to happen? The bone squeezing on the cartilage, it breaks it down, and it's just a matter of time. And then you got to get a shoulder replacement, and that's hell.
That's where my dad's at. He refuses to do the shoulder replacement, but that's how bad his shoulder is.
Yeah. But so what do you think is Nick's future? Because I tried to do a bit of homework today. I just saw Fod post a podcast with Nick, so I will listen to the beginning of it so I could hear Nick talk about his results. And by the way, he's so humble and sweet. He's beautiful. But he said he's going to the Olympia. He's very serious.
I can't wait for me and you have already trolled him a little. I have about his accusations of winning 10 Olympias and all that shit. I cannot wait for the asinine stuff that he's going to say now. He's going to say that he's going to be top 3, or he's going to say crazy stuff, I guarantee you. And like I said, people are messaging me saying, oh, look what Nick is doing now after he talked all this shit. It's like, listen, guys, he won the weakest New York pro in history. There was like 9 competitors. The weakest pro show in history, he won. Congratulations. He won that show fair and square. He was the winner. But that doesn't mean he's going to be a top 5 Olympia. He has a long way to go. He has a lot of muscle imbalances that he needs to fix. And he's just, it's going to be a like an uphill walk for him, to get to that. Now, I do think one day he could be top 5. But he doesn't have the genetics to ever be a champion at the Olympia. There's no way.
He'd be like a William Bonac, I think.
I would say the highest Nick will ever place is 4th, 5th.
Yeah, which is still an incredible accomplishment. But the only issue is that he keeps saying he's going to win. That's the only reason you come.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only issue. That's the
thing that it's not that. It's just Mr. Olympia. You're like, that's not realistic.
You wouldn't even be talking about this. But I will tell you this, though. And I know you're going to agree with me because you're all about health. I know that varicose veins, sometimes they're not really unhealthy. He needs to get those removed, man, because it looks bad.
Can we talk about this? Because I want to discuss this with you. There's something weird going on. Every few months, this guy's face looks more similar to, God rest his soul, Dallas McCarver's face. His face is actually changing. I swear to God, and his muscle looks more and more exactly like Dallas's. I don't know. Go put their pictures side by side and look at their faces.
You think it's the heavy growth hormone?
Yes, that's exactly what I think. I think he's on a lot of growth hormone, a lot of insulin.
I do know that Jansen loves growth hormone. Like, he's one of the highest growth hormone pushers out of all coaches. I do know that.
Bro, I never saw Nick's early pictures, his first competitions. I saw them with my wife, and I was like, what the fuck? The guy had no muscle at all. He had a wide waist and small arms. For you to go from that to a mutant, there's only one way, and we know that way. It's insulin and growth hormone for years, right? We know that. So I'm looking at his face, and his face is spreading out. It's pretty interesting. And
I got a new nickname for Matt Jansen, by the way. Well, camp, creep, and cheat.
I'm going to comment on it.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just saying everyone that knows the inside will know that.
Yeah, and everyone who doesn't.
The new nickname will be camp, creep, and cheat.
But by the way, the interesting thing was when I saw Nick, he did this he's such a sweetheart. He did this emotional thank you to everybody. And when he talked about Matt, he was about to cry. He was like, thank you so much. You've done everything for me. I'm sitting there thinking, what could a coach do that's that good? And then I was realizing there's only one thing that he must be paying for everything or something.
Everything. So he moved him out to Stewart, Florida, got him in that Revive gym, pays for his apartment, bought him a car, bought him a TV. They bought everything. He's with Revive and Raw. They're giving him salary. Matt is his backbone. Without Matt, he would be living back in his parents' basement because that's, he was living in his parents' basement before. So without Matt, he has nothing. So Matt has done everything for that kid.
That's fascinating. Well, we'll see how it goes next. I mean, his eyes are on the Olympia. I assume he won't crack the top 6 this time.
If anyone wants to bet me and they're serious about betting, I will, and Leo will hold the money. I will bet $500 he will not be top 5, and I'm serious. I'll pay up.
Well, especially this one. Apparently, a lot of people are coming. Hey, can I ask you about something? What do you think of Sergio Oliva Jr. as his potential? And let me ask you a bigger question.
I think he has more potential than Nick Walker because he has better shape
and height and a lot of things. But how about this? I heard that Sergio Oliva, the old guy, wasn't a nice guy, and apparently maybe he mistreated his son a bit, and he didn't believe in his son. His son apparently, I heard, asked him if he could be a bodybuilder, and Sergio Oliva Sr. told him no. Now, I'm sitting with my wife talking about it the other day. I was looking at Sergio Oliva online. I was showing her because when I was 15 years old, Sergio Oliva, the original, he has this picture of him playing billiards. It used to be my background on my computer with the big arms. I loved it. It was so motivational. I used to go work out and look at it. He had great arms. His son does not have good arms. And I guess it's because he married a girl who probably was like, if he married someone like my wife, who's 6 foot tall, IGF-1 off the roof, probably the genetics would be better. But maybe he married a little girl, so the genetics got worse. So he tells his son, "Hey, don't do it. You're not gonna live up to me."
His dad had a better physique.
Yeah, but this is an interesting thing, right? So he tells his son, "Don't do it." His son does it anyway. Now, do you think Sergio, at his age, regrets it?
No, like not listening to his dad or not listening.
No, because he lives in the shadow of his father's images, and there's no. I mean, he has good quads. He hasn't.
Well, this is the thing. We have better drugs these days, right? So Sergio could be bigger than his dad, but I'm saying structurally, his dad had a small waist. Sergio has bigger obliques. His dad has bigger arms, better shape. So as a bodybuilder, his dad will always be structurally better. I mean, I don't know, man. My dad was a bodybuilder. My parents were both bodybuilders, and I mean, my dad was better than me, and it doesn't bother me.
You think your dad was better than you?
100%, 1,000%, dude.
You were incredible in the first show. Incredible.
No, my dad was number. You know, he placed second behind Gary Stridham in the 1980.
Behind Gary Stridham.
Yeah, dude. He only lost. He lost to Gary in 1 point in 84. 1 point.
I never knew that. Oh wow.
Yeah, no, dude. My dad was crazy.
You got to get some.
I will tell you though. My dad was like late 20s. You know, when he did that, and like my best showing was when I was 23.
Yeah, you
so
stopped.
I had plenty of years to get better, but obviously now I'm fucked.
Well, you're not. Well, we'll see about that. We always keep our hopes.
I'm getting the blood work on the 25th. So next podcast we can talk about it.
Finally, that's great. But wait, going back to this. So the thing about it is this, right? When the drugs changed, what happened? When insulin and growth hormone came in, we saw the legs grow. The legs started growing. So you look at Sergio, he has big legs. And he has a bit of forearms from his dad, even though he has long forearms, which is impressive. But if you see his dad's pictures, he had some pictures around the grass outside once, posing with his triceps, the goddamn triceps like this.
Yep.
I mean, that's something that is nothing incomparable. Sergio has no arms. I mean, he has just flat, no shape. So I was always thinking, like, how would I feel if because my father wasn't very nice to me either. And I might have tried to rebel, and then I would have been pretty pissed off if I couldn't match up to him, you know. But it's interesting. So we have a lot of questions today. Oh, before we do, let me say something about the form. So how's the form going, by the way?
Form is steady, man. I mean, everyone loves it on there. I have no complaints. Like, it's very steady, and I'm very happy with it.
Everybody that I've talked to loves it. And a lot of people that I haven't even told about it are already on it, which is great. It's very useful. All right, let's take some questions. So first of all, Nick West Coast. By the way, Nick, I want to tell you something. When Davey Boy argues with you, he's just trying to defend me. Davey Boy is a wonderful guy. There's a lot of trolls on my Instagram. Davey Boy goes and messes around with him. He wasn't trying to mess around with you, actually. If you look at his original post, he was nice to you. You just took it offensively. Please be nice to Davey Boy. So he said, what would it take to make bodybuilding popular to the mass public again, the way Arnold Ferrigno did? It seems to be going the way of the mass monster could have hurt the sport. True or false?
He's saying mass monsters are hurting the sport?
I don't buy into that, but why is bodybuilding less popular?
I don't know. There's not really much controversy. I think if there was more blessings around.
Yeah, I know.
I think if there was more blessings around and there was like bodybuilders they're soft, man. Like they're big bodies, but they're soft individuals, majority of them. And they don't like to bicker. But I think if there was more blessings around, there would definitely be more hype.
Yeah, I liked what Blessing did, to be honest.
I did too.
People got offended. It's his.
I loved it. I just didn't like the end result.
Yeah, that result wasn't great, but still, he tried his best. So Ibogaine says, both of you, what is your go-to order from Chipotle? I'm gonna let you answer first. I have a.
Oh, that's a good one. So yeah, I get the double rice, double white rice, double steak, guacamole, fajitas, a little bit of mild salsa, a little bit of lettuce, and that's it.
Okay, so first of all, I've been to Chipotle once, I think, in college.
That's it?
I was seduced by an Asian woman who took me into the Chipotle once by accident, and it was actually good. But let me tell you my experience lately with Mexican food. So 2 days ago, my wife and I, we wanted to order something. She's pregnant. She keeps doing this stuff. So we ordered from a taqueria around us. Turns out, man, this burrito and taco, I never tasted anything like it in my life. I was like, holy crap, it was so good. We couldn't handle it. We were like, this is the best food we've ever tasted. We want to move to Mexico. Then I told her we should move to Mexico. Then she's like, Mexican food isn't like this. This is just the taqueria here. So I was like, all right. So we ordered the next day. Comes back, horrible, completely different food. Like, what the hell? I found the best food ever.
Same place though?
Same place. The difference was the first day I picked it up in person. The second day I ordered delivery.
Oh, delivery is always worse.
But if you're trying to eat Mexican food, man, there's a couple of taco places. There was one next to me downtown. I used to live down. Do you know the Whole Foods downtown?
Is it a taco truck that you guys went to?
No. It's like a taco place, like a fancy one in Irvine. But do you know the Whole Foods downtown in LA?
I've seen it. Yes, I bet. Yeah, I've never been there though.
I used to live above the Whole Foods for 5 years.
You told me about that story where that bum tried to get you.
Yeah, the bum tried to get me, but there's also a taco place there too, which was awesome. I went there a couple of times. Then what did they do? Cut the portions in half and double the prices. Every time I get a good taco, something goes off on me.
Dude, I went to a bodybuilding show in Culver City one time, and me and my buddies, we all went to this place, this Mexican place, and it was in a tent, a fucking tent, dude. It was the best Mexican I ever had. And then I was in Stockton, California with my buddy who's a bodybuilder, and we went to the taco trucks down there in the ghetto, and it was some of the best tacos I've ever had.
That's the thing. Those taco trucks are no joke, but you gotta know which one to go to.
Yeah.
By the way, I actually met a guy who his name is Culver, and he's the grandson of the guy who Culver City is named after.
Really?
I actually met, yeah. And a funny other thing about Culver City, did you know that Culver City has gangs in it and a hood?
Yeah, it was I wouldn't doubt it because that shit was ghetto. Like where they had the bodybuilding shows was hood.
It is hood. There's Culver City dress. I met a guy once there. He had Culver written here, City, and then 13 under it. Like his whole chest was said Culver City. What the hell is that? Because for the guys that are not from LA, Culver City's right next to Venice and Santa Monica. You wouldn't think that there's like gangs there. Anyway.
There's a place in Culver City that I used to go to eat after like prejudge. It was called Fat Burger. Do you remember that place?
Yes. Yeah. Fat Burger's good.
Oh yeah, it was hella good.
Yeah. All right. So Golden Gym Aesthetic Physique says, what would Boston's insulin protocol look like focusing on... I've never heard this before from you, by the way. Focusing on maximal growth. Once per week, a high dose of Lantus with lagging body parts or pre and post-workout with faster-acting insulin. I don't remember what's your... Oh, I also want to ask you another thing. I'm going to write it down. Yeah, how do you use insulin? How would you use it if you weren't worried about health, is what I mean.
Okay, so if I wasn't worried about health, I like Novolin R with your pre-workout meal 90 minutes prior.
And how would you avoid it, like adaptation? Would you do it like every other day or?
That's the problem, dude. Is I used to use way too much insulin. I used to use it every day, and you literally lose effects from it. Like you literally don't feel anything. Your blood sugar doesn't even drop. So yesterday I used insulin, right? Post-workout, 6 fucking units of Humalog, and I ate 80 grams of carbohydrates. And an hour later, I was hypo, and I had to eat again. Isn't that crazy? Now, if I did 6 units every day, dude, it wouldn't even touch my blood sugar. I could literally shoot 6 units and not even eat at all, and I wouldn't even go hypo. So my favorite protocol, man, is honestly, if I had to say all in one, obviously this is different. I like Novolin R, which is the same as Humalin R, with your pre-workout meal. And I'm not going to say doses because it all depends on the person, how much you're doing. But Novolin R pre-workout meal, train 90 minutes later with a Gatorade or an intra-workout carb, and then post-workout Humalog.
So have you ever gone hypo and it felt good? Like you feel a little bit.
Like you feel europhic.
Yeah, Eurofik, exactly. Okay, we gotta make that hat though. Seriously, the Eurofik was just for fun, not to make money. It's just I want one, okay? But no, honestly, the one time I went really hypo, I was with I had a chick in my apartment. I had been shooting insulin for like a few days. My insulin sensitivity is messed up. If I shoot five units one day, the next day I don't even need to eat shooting 5 units. Like nothing happens. So I was probably shooting 15 units through a couple 3 days later. And I went hypo, and I was like dizzy. The girl didn't know what it was, so I didn't tell her. And I was like, "Damn, this is nice." I just sat there. I was like, "But this really."
It's like a GHB feeling.
Yes, it's so good. I know. Okay, nobody try that at home. Seriously.
But hey, I'll tell you what. If you ever want to get that feeling, but not like fully go hypo, I used to IV my Novolin R, and right when you IV it, you get that feeling.
It's a really nice feeling. It's like a head rush.
Yeah, but then if you let it go too long, you start sweating and shit.
I know. Then it gets a little freaky. Yeah, exactly. That's what happened to me at the end. I ate. But listen, I want to ask you something. I've always wondered this about Chris Aceto. I heard that Jay Cutler, and this may be completely wrong, by the way, so you correct me. But I heard that Jay Cutler and Chris were fans of Thyroid in the off season. Have you ever heard that?
I can't speak on that, but I'll tell you right now that Milo Sarcev loves to run high doses of Thyroid all the time.
Oh yeah. So what do people do with Thyroid in the off season? The people that like to run it, like Milos.
So Milos, I've seen his protocols. It's 25 T3 like the whole time while they're on heavy insulin.
With no T4, just T3.
I've seen his protocols. I don't remember seeing T4. I just remember seeing T3. Yeah.
What do you think about it? Do you do it like if somebody was a fat guy, you would do it, but if somebody's not fat, do you think it's counterproductive?
I would never do it. I would just adjust the diet. If they're gaining fat, that means you're eating too much. I wouldn't counteract it with Thyroid, because then I would think doing Thyroid like that would actually inhibit muscle and it would keep you from growing.
That's what I would think. I heard some stupid rumor. Maybe it's totally wrong.
I don't know what people's do that. You just eat less. Like if you're getting fat, don't just add Thyroid to counter out the fat. You know, that doesn't make sense.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was wondering if there was some secret there where adding the Thyroid.
If your Thyroid on blood work's low, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Then you might have issues. Specifically, just for the audience to know, if your TSH is high, it may be dangerous. So you may want to add T4 and maybe a bit of T3. And T4 won't all convert to T3, so you have to add a bit more T3. Okay, so Better Butts by Putz says, who should use Prami and benefits for bodybuilders? I mean, this is a simple. Actually, we're gonna ask this question on Derek's podcast later. I'll go more into it, but I wanted to tell the audience: don't use Cabergolin. Cabergolin is associated with heart fibrosis at high doses when given to Parkinson's disease people. Prami is not. So Prami is the safer one. Of course, you're using low doses, so it's not so dangerous. But if you're gonna use one, Prami. The other thing I want to tell you guys is you don't have to use Prami or Caber. What Prami and Caber are for people who don't have dopamine in their bodies, for people with Parkinson's disease. Now, you have dopamine. So if you want to lower your prolactin for sex drive or something else, you could use some Adderall. You could use some Wellbutrin. It'll take a little bit longer, but at least you'll get some work out of it, some happiness. There's lighter approaches. When you use a dopamine agonist, all your dopamine receptors will downregulate, and you'll get nothing out of it.
The problem with like things like Prami and Caber is that they can make you feel like shit. Like they make you, if you take too much, they make you feel way too tired. They make you feel unmotivated. So
that's the downregulation, bro. That's how the receptors, and you don't ever want your dopamine receptors downregulated.
Yeah. So like in the off season, like, okay, if somebody's getting prolactin side effects on like low doses, I'll add in some Caber or some Prami. I don't trust the liquid Prami, so I always have them get the tabs, and I have them just take 125 mcgs. But pre-contest, I think I like to use it the last 4 weeks because it does dry people out. It does for sure. It'll dry them out 100%.
Really?
Yeah, because if their prolactin's high, they definitely show signs of water retention.
That makes sense. And by the way, just for the audience to know, your estrogen and progesterone, when they raise up, prolactin does too. So one way also is to keep your estrogen low. And you could, if you wanted, block progesterone. But if you did that, the Deca and Trenbolone and Anadrol won't work as well. So you can't really do that, but you can lower your estrogen. Sorry, I have this ridiculous hand, guys. Okay, so McShake and Bake Falafel Cart says, is GH worth the money? From my understanding, the main benefit is fullness and then some skin thinning abilities with certain brands like Serostim and Norditropin. Are those effects really any better than injectable Winnie with some Anapolon? Or is GH that big of a game changer? If so, is there any short-term protocol to reap all the benefits without killing your bank account? Well, there's no short-term protocol, but what do you think about the rest of it?
That's a good question because I think some people it's actually really beneficial. Like it makes a huge difference. And then some people it doesn't really do much for. Like even with high IGF levels, it doesn't do much for. But I will tell you what, that Sizen GH, the pharmaceutical grade Sizen, there was one time where I was like, you know what, I'm going to run it at like 4 to 6 IUs a day. And it did change my skin. It did.
GH
Like,
approved. That was
yeah,
GH.
it changed my skin texture for sure. So GH, yeah, I don't like when people say, oh, growth hormone is growth hormone. There is different types of GH that do different things. You know what I mean? Like they one. That's why Chad Nichols is big on this too. Switching it up. Don't just stay on the same brand for your fucking whole career. Use six weeks here, 6 weeks here. Yeah,
that's true. Really, you develop antibodies. It stops working as well. You have to switch it up. I'll say one thing. Look, I honestly was never bodybuilder and never big or anything like that. But when I was 22, when I was really young, I have no pictures of this. The first time I used steroids, I was in Dubai. So I had a lot of steroids and a lot of GH and everything. When I took the GH, I transformed. I think it's because I was younger. When I tried it when I was 27, it wasn't as effective.
What brand did you use?
That was honestly Chinese stuff, but it was good Chinese stuff.
Yeah.
But I used Norditrop and all that. But when I was younger, my shoulders, I mean, I had huge shoulders. Like I looked like I couldn't get past through a door. Only from the Tren and the GH when I combined them together. Some of that GH15 stuff was true. The danger, obviously, for your health is a separate issue. But like, I believe that the only way somebody can go from Nick Walker, how he looked like when he started with small arms and a big waist, to being a mutant, that's only through GH and insulin. You can't do that from anabolics.
Yeah, well, we both know that Matt pushes that, and Matt's paying for all that anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, there's another GH question. Let's ignore that one. This one's not the blood sugar question. I'm trying to skip through them a little bit because I want this one to be a bit shorter because I don't want to tire you out. But Daniel Weschler says, how to know if you are ego lifting or need to add more weight or lower the weight? What do you think about that? You're not much of a big lifter. How do you choose your weight?
I'm the weakest lifter I know of.
But you like to arm wrestle with professionals. I don't know why. You want to break. He broke his arm with a professional arm wrestler named Devon Lauren.
Who did?
Iain Valliere.
Oh yeah, I know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah, you're about to do the same thing.
No. You know what it was, dude? Is like Iain went into it and he probably didn't warm up. I at least warmed up, dude. Like I did all the warm ups and shit. You know.
No, the truth is, any really good arm wrestler, which Devon Lauren is one, can stop you from breaking your arm. I'm really suspicious about how that happened. Unless it happened really suddenly and Devon didn't see it.
Devon is the one that fucked his arm up?
Yeah. Do you know Devon?
I know of him because the chick that runs the gym with the guy that owns it, she always posts about him. Yeah, he's a Canadian arm wrestler, which is crazy because he's skinny as fuck, and to know that he's like one of the best is crazy.
He wasn't always that skinny, and also, by the way, Devon's a legend. You know, Devon's been on like 10. Like he used to be like a SWAT, like a special forces guy. He's done like 10 missions in Iraq, Afghanistan. He's like a war hero. Incredible.
So Iain had no chance of beating him.
Oh, there's no you couldn't even move. And look, an arm wrestler doesn't need muscle. Those guys have tendons and bone that they just hold you. There's no way you're gonna go through it.
So Iain, even as strong as Iain is, no way.
Bro, my arm wrestling coach, okay, I could do double the weights than him. Scott Mendelson too. Look, Scott Mendelson with us. It's me, Scott, and Vazgen. Vazgen, obviously, Scott is a freaking behemoth, and I was double as strong as Vazgen. I get on the table, Vazgen moves through me like butter. Like butter. I can't even, I'm holding, it just goes. Like you can't, it's like he's stabbing you with a knife. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just bone. You can't do anything about it. But what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about ego lifting. So what do you think about that?
I think if you think you might be ego lifting, you probably are.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And also, I think if you're bodybuilding, I don't know anything about bodybuilding because I live for strength. But if you're bodybuilding, I don't think that you should be doing the Ronnie Coleman jerking weights thing.
No, not at all.
It's best
No.
for your muscle. It worked for him, but I don't think it will work for me or for somebody else. You have to be able to move properly. So if you can't move properly, you're ego lifting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
So there's a cycle review. You've never done one of these on the show. So this guy, My Dear Wolf, he says, "Hey Boston, I'm about to start a cycle which I created for myself. It's 500 test, 250 EQ, 250 DECA with 2 IU GH, 2 IU IGF-1 LR3, and 10 IU of insulin for the first 10 weeks. Then for the next 6 weeks, 250 test, 300 primo. So he's reduced the test, switched the EQ to primo, added Mastron, 200 Mastron and 300 Tren. This is too complicated. 300 Tren A with 2 IU of GH and 2 IU of IGF-1 LR3 and 10 IU of insulin. Should I switch or readjust any compound above? Also thinking of sprinkling some Trestolone maybe once a week for good measure."
So I would say, okay, I only really caught on to that second cycle you said, but I would say always have more tests than primo, so or the same. So if you're going to do 300 primo, do at least 300 tests. And I would also, I wouldn't combine primo and Mastron as they're both DHT drugs unless you're pre-contest getting ready for a show and you're going to do it the last 6 weeks. I wouldn't combine those two. But if you're getting ready for a show, that's acceptable. Now, the first cycle was 500 tests, what?
The first cycle was 500 tests, 250 EQ, 250 DECA. So basically, he seems to want.
I think the doses are just too low for. I think you'd be better off. I think you'd be better off just running 750 tests.
Yeah, to be honest, these I know people like to use low doses, guys, but like you're not gonna go that far with this stuff. Like 250 EQ is, I can't even feel that.
It would be pointless.
I can't even feel 250 EQ. 250, it's a DECA is a bit.
250 DECA, he would get some joint relief.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but as far as it being anabolic at that dose, I'm not too sure.
Not at all. And then the primo, like primo will dry you out. You don't need primo and Mastron.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would only combine those if you're like last few weeks before a show. That's it.
Okay, let me tell you guys a secret. I've never used primo below 600 milligrams, and I usually use primo in grams when I used to use it. The truth is, it works very well, but you need like a gram and a half, something like that. Not to start with. Start low, obviously. But for it to really work, if you're using mainly primo or EQ, those things, they work much better if you're at 800 milligrams, 600.
I just started 200 mgs 3 times a week, so 600 mgs of primo, and that's the one drug I could take with the kidney failure stuff that doesn't affect me.
The primo is actually one of the most erythropoietic drugs, so it increases your red blood cell count more than test, but less than EQ. I'm also thinking of putting some primo instead of test because I don't need the test. I took the HCG and FSH, and my sex drive is insane. It's bothering me, and I want like some, you know.
It's insane. Like you have to jack off and shit.
That's a problem, bro. I was not used to this. It's very, and my wife is
now it's really a problem since you don't have your right hand.
Oh, there's a lot of problems. My wife is like 2 months from delivery, and my right hand. So I didn't try to kill it out. Yeah, exactly. So Hussein Ashur says, "What's your opinion on HGH fragment 176191?" I've never used it.
I love that, dude. I love it, and I'll tell you what. I'm not just loving it for my own experience. I'm going to tell you something. My stepmom, okay, she has never taken anything in her life ever, and she has stubborn fat areas like most older women in their 50s and 60s. She's in her 60s. But she used to run it when she was in her late 50s in her glute and ham area. I gave her a dose to do 250 mcgs twice a day, which is a normal protocol you'll see. And dude, she tightened up with no change in diet, no change in exercise, and she was in love with the stuff. She always wants more of it and stuff. Dude, the stuff works.
It's much safer than GH. I just didn't know it worked.
Works so good. It works so good.
Oh, really? We got to talk about this offline. I'm curious about it also. That's very interesting. I'm glad I asked you about that. So Eustace says, have you seen The Secrets of the Pros with Platts interviewing Newman, Ronnie, Baker, etc.? Do you know what the 90s guys actually did drug-wise to be leaps ahead of their predecessors? A common theme among them was that they all used Anadrol, Parabolan, Winstrol V, and Halotestin. I know you're obsessed about these.
They used all the same drugs that we do now, except, and I think the guys run more these days. To be honest with you, I think the stuff was just better back then. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
And I know, and I could tell you that, boss. I wish I could. I wish I could take. I will take you one day to the Middle East if you'll be my guest. I'll take you to the Middle East.
I'd rather go to the Middle East than fucking Australia, I think.
I'll take you around, man. You'll have the best. You have the best tour guide if it's me. Trust me. I'll take you to Kuwait. I'll take you to Qatar. I'll take you to Bahrain.
We'll have to go to the pharmacies.
Well, that's where we'll go. I'll show you everything, man. The thing is, there. You think it's like that, but when you actually go try it, the Anadrol there, bro, it feels like 300 milligrams of the Anadrol here.
I have the Anapolon from, it's called Anapolon, the Anadrols from the Turkish pharmacy. I haven't used them yet. They're in my stash. I obviously can't use them right now, but I had a client that used them, and he said, and first of all, it destroyed his appetite.
Yeah.
But it destroyed his appetite, and he was only eating a couple times a day, and his strength like doubled. So his food reduced, and he got stronger, and he put on weight. It must have been way strong.
Bro, I'll tell you how the first time I took Anadrol in Dubai. This is the first time I ever took Anadrol in my life. It was that not Anapolon, but it was an Iranian one. It was really strong. So I had the bottle laying on my desk next to me, and at the time I had this laptop, Alienware laptop, gaming laptop. I don't game, but it was whatever. It was a big laptop, the M17. So it's a huge thing. It weighs 2 pounds. When I would carry it, I would carry it with 2 hands because it's too freaking heavy. So I had a gym. I had my own gym in the living room at the time, full gym. So I was sitting in my bedroom, and I took the pill. It was like 11 p.m. And I was like, I'm gonna go work out. I go to pick up my laptop half an hour later, and I swear to God, I tried to pick it up, it flew. I was like, holy what the fuck? I went into the living room, all my weights went up by 30%. Just like it was unbelievable. Now I take Adderall 50 in America. That does not happen. It's not.
No, dude, there's something different with that, because I had a client that used it, and then, dude, I wish I could touch that stuff, but I just can't. It's just not worth it right now.
We're too old for that. We have to coach the next generation for that stuff. Okay, so Troublemaker says the best pregnancy protocol. Now, Bostin has a pregnancy protocol. You can order it from him. I have ordered it from him myself, so you guys can order it yourself. I ordered it years ago from him. It's very helpful. But I want to tell you guys something about this. We're not going to answer the full question, but I want to tell you guys something. There's also pregnancy protocols for women. I have one for women. I don't sell it, but you can metformin, luteinizing hormone, metformin, follicle stimulating hormone, and I think luteinizing. I can't remember the third one I was using. I researched all of the research on what they do to women in IVF clinics, and I found the safest things out of them. I've never used it on a woman myself because the danger is this. Kids born from assisted reproduction technology have slightly worse metabolic health later in life. But if your wife also has difficulties, just metformin can really improve her ability to conceive.
Do you like the sustained or the instant release?
The sustained, it's easier. Yeah, but metformin really is an easy one. 500 milligrams dramatically improves women's ability to conceive.
Can you have them take it before bed?
Oh, sorry, it was Clomid. I don't know why I'm confusing myself. So
Clomid makes more sense. Yeah,
I don't know why I was saying luteinizing hormone. FSH, Clomid for 5 days. It's the specific days 2 to 7 of the ovulation, whatever.
That's what Ariella does. She does 50 mg of Clomid days 3 through 8.
Yeah, everyone does the Clomid, but there's also an FSH one and the metformin. The metformin obviously safer, very, very riskless. Many women get put on metformin when they're pregnant also. I
stopped taking metformin when I went in kidney failure. I heard it's not good.
It could be concerning for your kidneys. It can cause acidosis of your kidneys. Yeah, so you have to stop.
And I want to tell you though, when I stack the ACE inhibitor with an ARB, I feel lousy and I get the pneumonia taste. When I only take the Ramipril with the beta blocker, I feel so much better and I don't have the ammonia taste. So then our buddy EPO Dave was doing some research and he sent me some screenshots saying that combining them could actually increase the risk of the uric acid.
Uric acid also. So there are like 10 papers. There's like 10 papers about combining them being good, and then there's 3 papers about it going wrong. So it's risky, And
I'll tell you what, Leo, I did the experiment, and my blood pressure didn't even go down with combining them. So there's no point, right?
And the Ramipril stronger. So I would just stick with the Ramipril and Carvit, and especially you're doing well with the Carvit. I mean,
I love that stuff, dude. That's my favorite one that I've added.
I need to reply to Dave. He texted me. He's such a nice guy. But he texts me something. I get busy and I forget it, and I feel bad later. I feel like I didn't respond. I'm gonna hopefully he sees this. I'll text him back. Okay, so lucky number 13 says thoughts on the practice of microdosing and daily pinning to fully utilize supplements to maximize results. Don't you do that yourself?
No, I don't think there would be any more benefit to doing daily shots at a smaller dose than every other day.
Yeah, every other day is what I mean.
Yeah, I do every other day. Yeah.
Me too. I don't like that once a week glute injection three.
No, no, no.
I don't.
But I also don't think that you're going to get better results doing it every day at 100 mgs than every other day at 200 mgs.
You don't. I've tried it. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You just end up pinning yourself every day, and there's not really a reason for it. Then it becomes a ritual, and then you got to use the insulin needle, and it gets annoying. But if you do it every other day, you'll feel this. I mean, for acetates, you'll feel fine every other day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And then, oh well, that's a Caber one. Okay, this is an interesting one. So, Jordan says, "Hi Leo, I'm currently 20 and I've been on gear since 17. Will starting this early have any positive or negative impact effects for my gains in the future?" Broderick Chavez says, "Is by the way, Broderick Chavez and I thought of the perfect way to say it. Broderick Chavez making shit up. Broderick Chavez making shit up and Fuad guessing his way through it. This is this guy making stuff up. He's like, Broderick Chavez, look, DHT compounds, you have to pick one. This one you have to pick. How did he come up with this random crap?
Dude, he's so full of shit, that guy.
And then he likes to talk about molecular biology for no reason. He starts talking about the way molecules are shaped. What does that have to do with what you're telling us? And he
wants people to get sucked into that shit.
No, he wants to talk to you from up high. I know. And trust me, a lot of people hire me, but they won't tell you who I am because I'm a drug guy. It's secret.
The worst, my pet peeve is what he's been doing lately. I trained 5 top Olympians. I just can't say their name because
they will never.
I can't say their name because I'm ghost coaching them and their coaches don't know.
Yeah, I'm the secret top coach. And also, I also formulate supplements for companies, but they will never tell you who I am. And I can't say either.
This is another one that I've heard from him. I train tons of pro athletes, but won't name any of them.
Bro, since our last podcast, I had to respond to so many comments. People are like, why do you don't like Broderick Chavez? What's wrong with him? What did he say exactly? Well, let's talk about it. He says bullshit. Nothing makes sense. He says academic stuff that's unnecessary. Like, I don't randomly just say academic stuff for no reason. I connect it to what I'm telling you. Otherwise, I won't tell you it. It's just annoying. He says it to make you feel dumb so that you accept his dumb advice. And then he claims he coaches people that he does not coach. Yeah, and he claims he formulates supplement company. He does not formulate. I formulate for people. They ask me, do you want to say the name? I mean, I don't formulate for many people. I just give advice sometimes to people. I don't go around telling you guys, oh, I'm a secret formulator. I do this. I don't.
That actually drives me nuts.
Oh my God, it's so. How can you guys not see that, guys? Look through him. Look through it.
He'll be like, I can't say the names because I'm ghost coaching him, and he hasn't coaching anyone. He isn't coaching anyone on the Olympia stage.
No, he's
no fucking way.
No athletes, no Olympia stage, nothing like that.
The thing is, Leo, is he wears really small shirts where his gut sticks out. Like, he actually thinks he looks good.
I think he's one of those fat guys that wears a tight shirt, thinks he looks muscular.
Yeah.
It's not like just a fat guy wearing a tight shirt.
He's just delusional in all aspects. But were you the one that sent me his college and it was like the bottom of the barrel? I think you were
the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I think you were the one that sent me his college and it was like the bottom of the barrel.
They all do it. All these guys that are about authority and stuff. If you're not about authority, you don't have to say where you graduated from. You don't have to say you're a doctor. You don't have to say that shit because you make sense. Yeah. If you don't make sense, you got to say, oh, molecular biology, you do this. You don't have to do that crap. Anyway, so he says, Broderick Chavez says it'll increase your growth potential if you hop on as a teen. That's true, though.
I agree 100%.
About that one. He said something right for once, but that is true. What do you think about that, by the way? I have my own opinions on it.
I would have started drugs so fucking young if I could have. You have no idea. Like, I would have started at like 15, 14, and I would have started training. But I think 100%. I think that when you start in those puberty years, you could grow like a maniac.
As long as you keep estrogen totally down. If estrogen peaks, that's when your growth plates close.
And that's why a lot of those kids don't do it right and they get gyno.
And you cannot. If you're younger, you have to kill estrogen, and it'll have some effects on you. You'll be a bit more aggressive, stuff. You might get anxious, but that's the only way. Then you can put your androgens up. Your dick will grow. You'll grow. You'll get muscle that you won't have. Especially GH.
You're right, though. Those kids aromatize so much more at that age. You should see the kids at Teen Nationals. All the freaks, they all had gyno.
Letrozole. That's a letrozole year time period. But that's true. I really believe that if you wait till 22, 23, you missed something that you'll never get back, in my opinion.
Look at Jay Cutler, Branch Warren. All those guys started when they were like 16.
Jay, a perfect example. And that guy kept. But you also started a bit young, and you grew taller after you started, right?
I put on 2 inches from 21 to 25.
Yeah, because your growth plates didn't close that well. I think you're not estrogenic that much naturally, are you?
I've never seen my estrogen that high on blood work.
Yeah.
I've never seen it that high.
See, when I was young, I was stupid. We talked about this last time, but I didn't understand. I thought that if I used anabolics or androgens, my growth, I would get even shorter, or I would stay at the height that I was. So I didn't realize it's estrogen. Androgens are not going to do that to you. They're actually going to thicken your bones, and the growth hormone is going to make you taller. It's the estrogen that's going to do that. If the estrogen is totally shut down, it's not going to stunt your growth.
What would happen, Leo, if you put somebody who's not really genetically gifted in the height department and you put them on growth hormone at a very young age?
I've been studying that for the last couple of months. It's called idiopathic short stature. It means a short guy for no reason. They give them growth hormone. They give them 40 units every other day if they're a 100 kg person. 40 units every other day. Huge amounts of growth hormone. And they grow. Actually, let me give you an example. One of the girls I used to date in LA, her twin sister, that didn't look like her. Twin sister, but not identical. Apparently, she was short when she was younger. Her father was a billionaire, so he was like annoyed with her, and he was like, "Oh, make this girl taller." So he hired like a doctor. They gave her growth hormone from the age of 10 till she was older. What was the difference? She ended up a little bit taller than the girl I was dating, but her hands were way bigger and her feet were way bigger. And
that's not good. Those are not good signs.
Not on a girl, but the point is she would have been way shorter.
I know they prescribe it to premature kids too.
They do prescribe it to a lot of different situations where there's growth abnormalities. And it usually doesn't cause them to be very tall, but they'll gain like 3 inches, 2 inches, something like that. You know what I mean? The funny thing is our buddy Ameen will tell people that if you take growth hormone, your dick will grow. Which he has a video on it. There's a video on it. I told him to erase it when I knew him. I was like, you can't put this stuff on the internet. It's not true. And it's like, no, I think it's true. No, it's not true, bro. That's not true.
I was measuring my dick wrong, by the way.
So did you find out it's longer or shorter?
No, shorter, way shorter. It's 5 inches.
Bro, by the way, do you want to make it longer? You can.
No, I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really care, dude.
No, making it longer is not fun.
That's what monster dildos are for.
That's true. But making it longer is not fun, but pumping is fun because it increases your sensation when you have sex.
Okay, so yeah, so we got a pussy pump in, the good one. So now I need to get a dick pump.
I'll tell you where to buy one, and I'll tell you how to use it. It's really good.
I don't think the pussy pump was that good though. It didn't really do much.
It's useless for a man though.
What's the point of a pussy pump for a chick?
It's for weirdos that want the labia to get bigger. And it's not weird. If you like that,
so it's not going to really help the female that much.
Zero. But on a man, if you pump for like 3 months, the amount of pleasure you can feel increases by like 30%. You get because what it does is it brings blood growth factors to your penis. It's like PRP for your penis. So you get like more innervation and stuff like that. So even if you don't want it to be bigger, if you like sex a lot, you'll have better sex.
Yeah. Sure. Why is it when I'm leaner, my dick grows a 1/2 inch?
Well, you have a fat pad on the back.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah.
You know, some people remove that. They go do liposuction there.
Really?
Some people are really obsessed with that. Yeah. Okay. So the last question actually we had was about.
Hey, but I did check. The average dick size in America is 5.16 inches.
Yeah, bro, it's really interesting. The average dick size in the world is not big, but for some reason, everybody thinks that like everybody has huge. I think it's the media.
Because we all watch porn and we see that shit.
Can you explain this to me? Why is all porn now like black guys with because we're guys watching porn. It's not girls watching porn. So it's guys wanting to see black guys with huge penis. I don't think everybody has a huge penis.
I don't know about you, but that's all I watch.
Oh, never.
Like the other night I watched the search engine. I put big black dick anal.
Never. Oh my God, I would get mad. I don't like it.
I don't know. I like because I don't like reality stuff. I like the crazy stuff. Like I like to see chicks getting opened up by big black dudes. I don't know.
I mean, I like to see chicks do weird stuff, but I don't want any kind of like competition with me. I'd like to see another girl there with a toy or some, like.
Oh, so you don't even like guys having sex with chicks?
Yeah, I'm getting annoyed with it. It's funny.
Really?
I wasn't always like this, but as I got older, I don't know what's going on with me.
So would you rather watch 2 girls, 1 guy, or 2 guys, 1 girl?
No, 2 guys, 1 girl is harder if you think about the girl. But I
Yes.
want to see the guys do it, so I would watch the girls. But the idea of the slut that takes 2 guys, that's cool. I like that idea. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I'm not weird by thinking that's fucking pretty
No.
hot.
As you get older, you get more freaky slightly in the back of your head, right? Things get weirder. Okay, actually, the funny thing is the last question was Steffi said, can an 18-year-old increase his dick by using HCG? I want to comment on this because I've studied this a lot. Probably, honestly, if you shut estrogen down when you use the HCG, you probably can. If you're still 18. If you kept your androgens high for a few years, you probably... Did you notice, Boston, that your dick got bigger from 20 to this age? Did you notice that? Or got thicker or something like that?
Yeah.
Right? Every guy does. You might not notice it. It happens a little bit.
Maybe thicker.
Yeah, it still grows a little bit. It mostly grows, obviously, in puberty. If I could go back to my puberty, I would have taken HCG and FSH and shut the estrogen down, and it would have grown much bigger. But after that, you're limited as the years go by. But yeah, potentially you could. Of course, I'm not advising you to do so, and I'm not sure if it would work because I never got to try that myself.
So what I've noticed is this an ethnic thing? It seems like black guys are showers, not growers. It seems like white guys are growers, not showers. Like, for instance, like I'll have like a 2.5 or a 3-inch regular and like a 5-inch boner or 5.5, where black guys will have like a 6-inch regular and only like a 7-inch boner or something.
It's funny that I know that, and you probably know why I know that. I went to that weird place in LA where people... Remember that place I was in LA for a while? I've seen a lot of that. It's true. It just stands up. That's true.
Dude, but it would be annoying to have like a 6-inch regular. Don't you agree?
I would imagine that it would be great to show off to women.
Yeah, but like squatting in the gym and like walking around.
It's probably not good for the health of your penis. Probably your penis could get damaged somehow walking around like that.
I watched that documentary. You got to watch that shit. It's really interesting about the guy with the biggest dick. It's a white guy and some nerdy guy. Dude. It's in that weird. I could send you the link. It's in that. It was on TV, and the guy had a 14-inch regular.
Can he get hard? Probably can't get hard, right?
Yeah, dude. So he had a problem getting circulation to get hard. Yep.
Yeah, that's useless. Yeah. But you know what? I don't like the way that like women in society objectify men now. Like we used to objectify women, which was bad too. You know, like in the 90s, people used to objectify women about their tit size or about being skinny or whatever. Now women do it to men, and all the women are insecure about their dick size. I think everybody should be... Look, if a girl doesn't like your dick size to the younger guys, tell her to fuck off.
Oh, for sure, dude. If a chick said that to me, I would leave in a heartbeat. I wouldn't care.
It is not your masculinity, it's your dick size. You are who you are. You could be Chinese or whatever, Indian, and have a small dick. It doesn't matter. If the girl doesn't like it, what she will respect in you is if you're confident in yourself. She tells you, oh, you have a small dick or whatever, you tell her, get the fuck out of my place.
You've heard of chicks that come down on guys for that?
I have consultations from guys that have like serious like insecurities because women have treated them like shit for years. Like their girlfriends have like dug into them about that. And that's who I'm talking to now. I'm just talking to the younger guys that have insecurities. You are who you are. You're worthy because of yourself, not because of your dick size or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's terrible, man. I didn't even know that. I mean, I would be so, yeah.
Bro, some guys get really like... It doesn't just happen to women. There are abusive relationships both ways.
You know why it doesn't bother me that much? Because if I want her to have bigger, I just get toys. Like
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No.
Don't let anyone fool you. And yeah, exactly. All right, brother. I'll let you be for now. We'll speak next week. I
was going to ask you, Leo. Have you read all those books behind you?
Yeah, I have way more books than this. I've read about 60% of them. I keep a big library, so I have 2 here. These go all the way up, and I have 3 more.
So do you try to read every day?
Yeah, I read every day. Yeah, for a lot.
Wow.
I read for at least like 4 or 5 hours every day. But not always. Sometimes I'm reading papers on the computer. That's all I do. Yeah, that's why I talk weird. I seem autistic sometimes because I'm always reading.
So do you read out loud or you read in your head?
No, I read in my head. Who reads out loud?
You read? When I read a book, I'll read in my head. But when I'm reading like steroid stuff, dude, like they actually when I was in elementary and stuff, they said I had comprehension, reading comprehension. They diagnosed me with that, and I would have to read something like 5 times to understand it. But I realized when I read it out loud, I would understand it better. So when I'm trying to read something on my computer or like an email from my clients, I read it out loud. For some reason, hearing my own voice, I understand it better.
That's true, actually. Sometimes when I'm trying to understand, like if I'm reading a complex thing, philosophy, I read it out loud.
Yeah.
And then when I'm reading not out loud, I have a voice in my head that I'm listening to.
That's exactly what I do every time.
And in the 1800s, in England, people used to commonly read at night to their wives. So people would read together. One guy would read and the other would listen.
One time we should do a podcast with both of our girls, dude.
I'd love to. The reason I haven't shown Lucy on camera for a while is because she's pregnant, and I don't know how. Because I'm like, I don't know how my child. I don't want to show my child on camera, even though she's pregnant. I'm like, I don't know. I want to give the child the choice to be on camera.
Yeah, maybe after she delivers or whenever you feel comfortable, we should have client questions for females because they could talk about a lot of stuff that people would be interested in.
Yeah. My wife would really like that. Actually, she always lists. She always wants to. I think we should introduce them also so they could chat.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do that.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.